Vyakhya karasarasijaihi pustakam shankachakre Vibhradbhinnaspatika ruchire pundarike nishannaha Amla nashtrihi amrita vishadair amshubhi plavayan mam Avirbhuyat anaghamahima manase vagadhishaha. Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha. At the outset, let me offer my humble pranams to the chairperson of this session, Dr. V. Kameshwari ma'am, and other distinguished scholars. My topic is sowing of seeds as gleaned from Krsi Parasara. Agriculture involves many activities such as selection of soil, tilling, and so on. Among these, sowing of seeds is one. If a person is so desirous of high yield, then he has to take care of the sowing meticulously. In literature, it attracts considerable recognition. Our ancestors taught us the indigenous techniques for achieving high returns in the agricultural production by paying special focus to this process. All the seeds do not fructify. There are some techniques involved to make the seeds a growth yielding one. Firstly, the potential ones are to be segregated from the feeble ones. Secondly, they are to be properly preserved from the harms caused by the natural calamities such as flood, etc. And thirdly, the soil is to be tilled and manured properly for proper growth of the plants. Germination is possible only from the good seeds. This point shall be discussed in this paper. First, let us see the reference to sowing in Vedas. In the Rig Veda, when prayers are offered to the Marut deities, it is mentioned that the longevity in life, bliss to be bestowed like the potential seeds. Many references to this process, that is sowing, can be seen in our Sanskrit literature or ample testimony to show that how our ancestors have given importance to this. In Vedas, the word sowing is not used everywhere connecting the agriculture. Somewhere it is used as part of explanation of the sacrificial rite. For instance, in one of the hymns of the Rig Veda, the stone used to crush the soma juice is extolled. Here, the sowing of seeds by the cultivator is shown as example. In another hymn, where the Ritviks are praised, Sayanacharya citing Apastamba mentions that the 7 seeds such as Vrihi, Masha, Tila, etc. are to be sown on the plowed field in Gramya, that is village, and Venu, Shyamaka, Nivaraka, etc. in Aranya, forest, where the land is not tilled. Tilamasha Vrihyadikam Gramya Saptakam Venushyamaka Nivaradikam Aranya Bija Saptakam Cha Krishta Krishtayoho Nivapata Saptagramyaha Krishte Sapta Aranyaha Krishte Akrishte Iti Apastambaha. In one of the hymns in the Atharva Veda, it is prayed that just like the seeds sown on the well-tilled land grow, likewise the progeny, cattle and food also be grown from the food. Sayanacharya, while commenting on the mantra of Shatapatha Brahmana, he says that the seeds are to be sown in Udumbara Chamas. Here the word Chamas means the vessel made up of Udumbara tree, that is fig tree. Here it is emphasized that the Bija Vapana, that is sowing of seed, is to be done on the well-tilled land with the recital of 12 rigs of the Anushtup meter. He further says that for the act of sowing, the cultivation land is the Adhikarana, that is support. The seeds such as Vrihi, Yava, etc. sown here would be resulted in the form of Anna, food. What types of seeds are to be sown on which season is mentioned in the Taittiriya Samhita. He gave the sap to the spring barley, to the hot season, plants to the rainy season, rice to autumn, beans and sesame to winter and the cool season. Sa rasamaha vasantaya prayacha dyavam grishmaya aushadhir varshabhyaha vrihin charade mashatilo hemanta shishirabhyam. From the above mentioned references, it is understood that that during the Vedic period there was awareness among the people on sowing. Apart from rice, they have produced cereals, pulses also. Sowing in post-Vedic period. Vishnu Purana mentions about 17 types of grains. It is implied here that during the time of this Purana, the practice of cultivating the different species of grains was in vogue. Grihayaschayavaschaiva godhumaschana vastilaha priyangavo hyudarascha koradushastatinakaha masha mudgamasurascha nishpavasakulatthakaha adakyaschanakaschaiva shana saptadasha smritaha. Panini uses the term vapya to refer the soil which is kept ready for sowing. Also the term bija karoti is mentioned by him to denote the sowing of seeds after tilling gets over. This is explained in Kashika as saha bijena vilekhanam karoti. Vrikshayurveda refers to three kinds of plants. Those that grow from the seed, stalk and bulb. Jambu, Punnaga, Champaka, Nagakesara, etc. grow from the seeds, while Dadimi, Plaksha, Udumbara, Karavira, etc. can grow from the seeds and stalks as well. The method of sowing is referred in this text. It gets varied, depends on the different kinds of seeds. The seed extracted from the dried fruits gets ripened in the natural course and season, is then sprinkled with milk and dried for 5 days. It is then smoked with mustard seed mixed with vidanga. It is also noted here that the seeds, if subjected to the following treatment method, would become excellently fit for sowing according to the experts. The seeds are to be soaked in milk, dried well in shade, rolled into powder of brihati, tila and nala, that is hollow stalk of lotus, mixed with mustard. This text states that different procedures have to be adopted, depends on the size of seeds. In the case of larger seeds, they are to be sown singly and smaller ones in multiples. Especially the seed of naranga is to be sown in a slanting position with hand. The text Kashyapiya Krsi Sukti, a treatise on agriculture of sage Kashyapa, in which the names of different kinds of seeds have been mentioned. For example, it refers to the seeds of different kinds of rice varieties. This kind of discrimination has been made among these species of rice seeds on the basis of their distinct characteristics of color, taste and essence. Shalayadih kalamadischa shashtikadischa tatridha rasavarnaka jatyadehi vibhaktam krishiko videhi. In the Amarakosha, lands are being classified on the basis of the species of seeds cultivated on them. For instance, on the land where vrihi is raised, it is known as vraiheya, shali, shaleya and so on. Similarly, the land on which tilling is carried out while the seeds are sown, it is known as bija krita. And the sowing, if takes precedence, followed by tilling of the land, is upta krishta. Even the classification of land was done during the age of this lexicon on the basis of the quantity of grain sown as draunika, adhakika, etc. Grains are classified on the basis of seasons in which they are sown. It is referred in Ashtadhyayi. The grains sown during the summer season are called Grishmaka, and those that are sown during the spring season are known as Vasantaka. The Shangadhara Paddhati, in which a section called Upavana Vinoda is devoted to horticulture, it is observed here that the Ashada and Shravana months are the best for sowing. Unlike the Krishi Parasara, which will be explained by me shortly, here there is no discrimination of the months for sowing as best, middle, etc. But it is said here that some opine that sowing can be done except sun. According to Panini, the Ashvayuja Purnamasi, that is the full moon day of the Ashvayuja month, is considered to be auspicious for sowing. Now, let us sowing in Krishi Parashara. Krishi Parashara is one of the ancient texts of sage Parashara dealing with some of the aspects of agriculture such as ploughing, sowing, watering, etc. It also discusses about the rainfall patterns being constantly evolved due to the planetary movements between the different zodiacs. This is also called Krsi Paddhati or Krsi Vidhana Paddhati. Krsi Parasara does not accept the sowing of seeds at any time. It prefers the auspicious months, asterism and tithis to be followed for carrying out this exercise. It states that on which of the months sowing is supposed to be carried out. This activity, if carried out during the months such as Vaichaka, Jeshta, Ashada and Shravana, is rated as best, middle, bad and worst respectively. Vaishakhe vapanam shreshtam, Jeshte tu madhyamam smritam, Ashadhe chadhamam proktam, Shravane chadhamadhamam. Krsi Parasara further discusses in detail on the stars and the tithis for sowing. Similarly, it mentions the avoidable tithis on which sowing is prohibited. Further, the sowing is prohibited on 3 days, that is between the end of Jeshta and the beginning of Ashada, when the earth is menstruated. Preparatory work before sowing. Sowing, though, is seen as one among the many processes of crop cultivation, Krsi Parasara gives more importance to it. The cultivator who is engaged in sowing is urged by Krsi Parasara to ensure the proper maintenance of seeds. It should not be kept near the anthill, in the cattle shed or a place where the child has been delivered or at a house of a barren woman. Before sowing is done, Indra is to be propitiated. Also, the occasion is marked with a sumptuous feast to the farmers. Cultivation should not be commenced without ploughing, and if a person does so, he is doing it only out of pride and physical strength. The deities concerned are to be duly propitiated. The auspicious day and time have to be chosen before one commences the ploughing. Parasara opines that the seeds meant to be sowing should not be collected from the well-grown plants, as all those plants grown in the field do not yield the fruits. Seed consists of 2 functions, namely sowing and transplanting. The former is free from diseases, while the latter is with maladies, that is defects. In our experience, we find that not all the transplanted saplings or plants grow well. This may be due to the prevailing atmospheric conditions around the transplanted ones. I would like to here mention, nowadays, the doctors engaged in the process of transplantation of human organs, they say that the transplanting, we won't guarantee that the transplanting will be 100% successful. Everybody knows that. And Parasara lays down an emphasis upon having the potential seed by citing the view of sage Garga. The wealth of harvest lies upon good seed. It is barren, then field, wood, manure, cultivator, mass of clouds, everything becomes meaningless. It is mentioned here that this rule is applicable to seeds in dairy and barley. Krsi Parasara suggests few measures to be adhered by the cultivator before sowing. After drying the seeds under the sunlight, they have to be collected in the month of Maga, between January to February, March. Then these seeds collected in a bag or be removed of chaffs, as their presence would spell damage to them. It is very important to ensure that the seeds are to be uniform. The seeds are to be uniform in nature. Kuppuswami states that the mature seeds relevant to the season have to be picked up, followed by subjecting them to fumigation, which would ensure their better growth. Apart from drying up of the seeds under the sunlight and the selection of the blemishless ones, Monsoon Lhasa adds a few more techniques to it. The seeds are to be coated with the cow dung each day for 5 days, and then the cultivator has to perfume and fumigate them with the smoke caused by the burning of vidanga and clarified butter. Swabhava kupalitam nirdosham shushkamatape palabijam samaliptam gomayedina panchakam vidanga grita dhupena dhupayet karayet brisham sarveshameva vrikshanam esha bija vidhismritaha. Upavana Vinoda describes about a particular treatment to be given for pulses and sesame. These two are to be sown after the field is ploughed well. To ensure good yield, it adds another technique that the seeds taken from the well-grown crops are to be sown again on the well-tilled field. Samyak krishte same kshetre mashan uttvatilam stata sunishpannana paneyat tatra bijoptirishyate. Brihad Samhita says that before sowing, the soil on which the sesame is intended for cultivation should be given the treatment of sesame manuring that would act as an excellent green manure. The sesame should be sown at first. When it is in full bloom, it should be crushed and allowed to mix up with the soil, which is known as sesame manuring. Mridvi bhusarva vrikshanam hitatasyam tilan vapet pushpitam stam chamridghiyat karmaitat pratamam bhuvaha. Arthashastra, which deals with many subjects, offers the treatment of varied nature to different seeds before they are sown or the saplings planted. The seeds of grains are to be exposed to mist and heat for 7 nights. The seeds of koshi, that is mudga and asha, etc., are treated similarly for 3 nights. The seeds of sugarcane and the like are plastered at the cut end with mixture of honey, clarified butter. Cotton seeds with cow dung and water pits at the root of trees are to be burnt and manured with the bones and dung of cows on proper occasions. Tusharapayana mushna shoshanam chasaptaratraditi dhanya bijanam triratram pancharatram va koshi dhanyanam madhu grita sukara vasabihi shakrudyuktabihi kanda bijanam chedalepo madhugritena kandanam asti bijanam shakridalepaha shakinam gartadaho gosti shakridbihi kale dauhridam cha. Krsi Parasara lays down an emphasis on the distance to be maintained while sowing seeds. The distance between the crops varies in different months. It is 1 hand cubit in the months of Ashara and Karkata, half a cubit in Shravana, and a space of 4 fingers in Bhadrapada. Navriksharupam dhanyanam bijakarshana macharet napalanti dridas sarve bijah kedara samsthitaha hastantaram karkatecha simme hastardhamevacha ropanam sarvashasyanam kanyayam chaturangulam. Procedures to be followed after sowing. There are some procedures to be adhered by the cultivator in the post-sowing period to ensure a good yield. Krsi Parasara addresses these needs. After sowing, maika here it is a Bengali word which means a ladder-shaped contrivance, yantra, which is used for leveling the rice field. So that mica should be applied to ensure the uniform growth among the seeds. Then watering is necessary to those seeds that are sown and the saplings planted. In this respect, Krsi Parasara suggests a few more techniques to be adopted in paddy. If one is desirous to see the paddy free from disease, then the water is to be retained up to its root level, and the remaining water should be drained off the month of Bhadrapada. Nairujyartam hidhanyanam jalbhadre vimochayet mulamatrarpitam tatra karayet jalarakshanam. In this connection, it is said that the water is to be preserved in the months of Ashwina and Kartika at the advent of autumn, just like a well-wisher being desirous of protecting the woman in the family. Ashwine Kartike chaiva dhanyasya jalarakshanam nakritam yena murkhena tasya ka shasya vasana yatha kularthi kurute kulastri parirakshanam tata samrakshayed vari sharatale samagate. Nourishment of soil through manuring plays a very important role in the act of crop cultivation. If the soil is enriched with manure, the seeds sown on it would absorb the nutrients and grow well. In the text, Brihat Samhita, Vrikshayurveda, so these texts, it is discussed in detail. So the procedures pertaining to the preparation of manuring are discussed. In Upavana Vinada also, under the section Poshana Vidhi, this has been analyzed well. But in Krsi Parasara, it does not delve deep into this process unlike these texts. For few details are obtained under the caption Govaya Kutodhara, in which Parasara appears keen upon promoting the natural cow dung manure. He says that the cow dung heap is to be lifted on an auspicious day and on an auspicious star by spades after the worship in the month of Magha. The collected heap is to be dried under the sun after having made into small balls. These balls are to be powdered and thrown into the pits of every field in the month of Phalguna. At the time of sowing, this manure, which is in the form of powder, shall be taken out of the pits. Plants that grow without manure would not yield any result. Especially Krsi Parasara mentions this. Maghe gomaya kutam tu sampujya shraddhayanvitaha shobhane divase rikshe kuddalaistolayettataha raudre samsoshya tat sarvam kritva gundaka rupinam phalgune pratikedare saram garte nidhapayet tato vapanakale kuryat sara vimochanam vinasarena yadhanyam vardhate palavarjitam. While sowing, one should exercise caution that the seeds are not coming into close contact with one another, as that would affect their germination rate. Therefore, Krsi Parasara suggests that about the process called thinning out of paddy. It is mentioned in the Krsi Para, it is called, that process is known as Kattana. This must be carried out in the month of Ashadha or Shravana. The Kattana, if not done so, would remain as seeds only. As long as whatever the process we employ, it won't work. Okay, so it is especially mentioned in the Krsi Parasara, Ashade Shravane Masi Dhanyam Akattayed Buddha Anakattam tu yed dhanyam Yatha Bijam Tataivahi. As the seeds grow, the weeds around them should be removed. If not so, they would pose risk and spoil them ultimately. Hence, the process known as deweeding should be undertaken. In Krsi Parasara, this is explained under the title Dhanya Nisthrini-karana. Nishpannamapi yadhanyam nakritam trinavarjitam nasamyak phalamapnoti trinakshina krishir bhavet. With this, I'm very much, let me express my gratitude to everybody, to Dr. K.S. Balasubramaniam sir, Vasu sir, and V. Kameshwari ma'am, and to my colleagues for the opportunity having given to me to speak a few words about my topic on this occasion. Thank you very much.